space, both outer and in the back of your car. And cables, sure. Why not? You might find out about this. But I don't know about Jim Jefferies. I don't know about that one, Jim. Hi, I'm Jim Jefferies. Seamless. No.
I just want everybody
That took 7 takes.
Yeah. Everybody at home, Jim thinks about these right before we do this, and he stared into the distance for a few minutes. He goes, got it. That's what he came out with.
Holy shit.
I thought you were going to say inner, outer and inner.
No.
I thought you were going to say personal.
You got a bit of space in the back of your car.
Yeah, personal would have been good.
Yeah, personal would have been good. But I was thinking, Luis, because he has to put a picture up. If I go at the back of your car, that's easy. If I go personal, I guess that's a good picture as well.
Oh, you were thinking of Luis.
And then at the end, I panicked, and we have a lot of cables running along the floor.
Cables, sure.
Why not?
Cables, both the TV and the ones that you tie on things.
That one was so good.
To this point, we've only done one of those. We've done bees. That's the only one that we've done.
Space?
Yeah,
We've done space.
Oh, yeah,
Sort
we did
of.
moon landing.
We've done things on space. Not the space in the back of your car. That's going to be a hell of an episode.
I can't wait for that.
Why is there space back there?
Well, you
don't
need to
know.
put things, man.
Yeah.
Well, what if it wasn't originally for that?
What do you do if you see a spaceman?
High five him?
Parking it, man.
So stupid. I hate it.
That was a joke when I was a kid. That's not my joke. But,
that wasn't a joke when you were an adult?
No.
Specials?
I
on the next
do that
special.
joke with my son, and he doesn't get it. I'm like, parking it, man. And he doesn't get the reference of a hippie or whatever. You know, he doesn't fucking like.
Does he get the parking part?
Not really.
Yeah, he's never going to. He's never going to drive, probably.
Probably he'll just Uber, or there'll be cars that will drive themselves. Probably
Yeah.
never drive, which is for the best, you know. Because when we were kids, I had a friend die when we were 16. It was the worst. They were giving cars that were worth $400, like we were buying them for $400 to the worst drivers with no airbags, and we were all fucking driving really recklessly.
Yeah, that is true. When you get your first car, you're like, now this is a piece of shit.
Yeah. Now you're not a very experienced driver, so we're going to give you a piece of shit without airbags. Good luck.
You know, anti-lock brakes. This has lock brakes. This is locked up immediately.
No, this is. I could see the road through the floor of my car. It was good because that emptied the
Fred
water out.
Flintstone?
It was only a little hole, but I could see. It was the size of a cricket ball, baseball to you, and the same size ball, and thereabout. Now someone's going to write into me. Actually, the cricket ball is 1 millimeter in dimensions. Like, shut up, you fucking nerd. Get your own podcast.
Oh, boy.
All right.
Speaking of comments.
Oh, yeah. Do we have Comment World this week, Jeff?
Yeah, we do.
All right. Everyone's happy it's back, I'm sure.
Yeah, but I think.
You turn.
I
Luis, I have a song.
I think I read a comment where someone missed it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I was saying. I think
Wow,
that's
I'm shocked that people like
We
it.
sent it, there are 2 theme songs that were sent in.
We only need one. We can do one a week.
Comment World, it's Comment World. Reading comments off the internet in Comment World. Opinionated fucks, well, we don't give a shit. So fuck them in the ass and let's be done with it. It's Comment World.
Yeah, it gets a little aggressive, that song. Halfway through, you fucking people.
Fuck 'em in the ass.
You don't want to hear the second verse. It's like, I've hid the body, she's dead to me. Stabbed her in the neck, and then I came.
that was the same person that gave us the judging a book by its cover?
No.
Oh, okay. Sounds like it. Sounds like the same.
You have the person's name?
This is, I don't know. I
Which,
only
by
know
the
his
way,
Instagram handle.
we will need to edit that in.
Yeah. This is from a young boy called Harvard Weinstein from.
From San
Yeah,
Quentin.
his full name's Harvard.
He's very smart.
What is Harvey short for? It feels like it's short. Is that a full name? Hartford or something?
I don't know.
It might just be Harvey.
I don't know.
I feel like Harvey's
Only
a
like
short
computers.
name, a short and long. It's probably the same letters for the full name, but Harvey's like a nickname.
Are you
of it.
thinking of Harry? Because Harry would be Harold.
No, Harry is short for William.
Harry?
No, Harry's short for.
Harold.
Is it? Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Why not? Oh no, Bill's short for William. How the
Yeah.
fuck did Bill come from William?
And Bob
Billiam.
from Robert.
Oh,
all
I
messed
don't.
up.
Yeah, I don't like Jack from
Dick
John.
Dick from Richard is.
Jack and
I don't
John
know.
are the same fucking amount of letters. You're not
Yeah.
helping me out.
It's really
also,
confusing.
who is the person, right, with the fucking internet who wanted to shorten the word "at" into a symbol? It's a 2-letter word, and now we have to go control over the 2.
Yeah, but that's for emails.
Yeah.
You have to separate it so that you see it's an email address.
Give me a little button, email squiggle.
Make a new thing.
Like at A with a circle. It's not saving me any time.
It's not a time saver. I think it's to chop it up so that it knows what the address is at the end.
Yeah,
what's going to.
you want it, you marry it. It's going to comment well.
Did we find out about Harvey?
It says it's not short for Harvard. That's all I know.
No.
Anyway, the person who sent it, his Instagram handle is at text VRES_. I don't know. his
VRES verse.
text Verez _
Verez.
Sweet.
Nothing wrong with my spelling.
People were pissed we didn't do Comment World in the past couple episodes.
People or person? Was there one person or people?
There were multiple comments.
How many?
By the same person?
I only screenshotted a couple. People were cross-platform upset no Comment World. So thanks everybody.
Well, it's back.
It's back.
People miss your dulcet tones.
No, well, he still did stuff. We're still gonna do stuff. We're gonna still do Comment World, but we'll.
No,
It won't be as often, so the comments will be meaningful.
This is the bit where Jack shines. I have to turn away. I'm getting blinded.
I read what other people came up with off of a computer. Some people wrote in and just were saying where they were listening from, which I thought was interesting.
Oh, where were they listening from?
Papua New Guinea.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we knew that though.
Right next to Mama New Guinea.
Uncle New Guinea.
Yeah. Oh, have you ever been to the original Guinea? Lovely place.
We have someone listening from the Madeira
That's where the pigs
Island,
come from.
Madeira Island, Portugal. They said it's somewhere in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. And then someone says temporary Texan here.
Temporary Texan.
I guess they may or may not stick around.
Oh, why?
I don't know. They didn't go into it, but they're from
They're just
Texas.
there to vote.
Is there any? Because I'll say this about the Liberals: left-wing people, when they don't like a president that's coming in, they do this. They go, "Oh, if he get voted in again, I'm leaving." There was comedians who said they were going to move to Canada. They never left. Shut up! You're not going to leave, right? I'll be leaving if he gets in again. Do the right-wing people do that?
Yes.
Do they? Oh, if we had Hillary, I'm leaving this country.
Yeah, and you know, I was saying this the other day. There's this one. It's always whatever happens, whatever side wins, the other side says the same exact shit. I'm leaving. This country's gonna go to shit. Whatever. You know what? I always think it's funny. There's whenever a president gets elected, they always make these countdown clocks that it has like the president on there for the people that hate them. And it's like countdown till they're out of office. And it was like they had one for Obama, they had one for Trump, they had one for. They just slap a new sticker on the front. That company. They're going to be in business forever because they're like, all right, who won? And it's like, make the stickers.
my father loves Trump. He loves him. Like, he just turned 79. Happy birthday, Dad. My father loves Trump. I'm not saying anything that he wouldn't say himself.
Yeah.
He's watched the debate about 7 times, and now he just quotes the debate like it's fact. Like he just goes, you know what's wrong with that Biden? He's been in government for 39 years and he's done nothing. And I go, well, he must have done something.
He doesn't like his track record.
What was he? And I go, what did Trump do? He's built things. Oh, he's built things, mate. He's built America. That's what my dad reckons.
God.
He's built things.
By the way, the island of Madeira looks awesome.
Yeah.
Oh,
Holy
yeah.
shit.
But, just like these, it's not really.
Sounds like a liqueur.
It's off the coast of Morocco, even though
Madeira on
Portugal
ice.
might own it.
When we go on tour, let's make sure we do a stop there.
Okay.
Great.
Live
All right.
podcasting.
We'll go on the island of Madeira. Hello to all those people living there. How are you all doing? All 7 of you. Thanks for the downloads.
On the episode when we were, it was expert on experts, we were asked to say what we were experts in. This person commented that we're all experts in derailing conversations. She seems accurate.
Fucking, that's what they just did, fucking loser.
Yeah.
We were having a lovely show.
Join the club.
We were a lovely show. We were all getting along, and then fucking Negative Nelly comes in with it. I don't like our conversations at derail. Go listen to a podcast where one person's talking by themselves, you fucking knobsucker.
Downloads are down.
This comment takes an interesting turn. It starts off with ID Cat. Jim takes this 20-minute podcast, lasts for almost 1 hour and a half. Guy is hilarious. Thumbs up. And what the hell? TBS replaced Seinfeld with the George Lopez show. Angry face.
Yeah. Because there's no way to watch the programs we want to watch when we want to watch.
Right.
Like that guy still shows up to TV like at 6 o'clock. He's driving home quick to make it home to get Seinfeld.
I feel like he just wanted to get the last part out, and he was like, "Here's some people that'll listen to me."
Yeah.
They'll agree. Yeah, what the hell is that?
And the Seinfeld show has been replaced by George Lopez. What the fuck? Yours sincerely, Michael Richards.
I will say, as you're mentioning that, somebody wrote to me on Twitter and said, "Hey, Forrest, you recommended a Twitter handle, Quokka Every Hour, as a really and apparently they haven't tweeted since September, and they asked me if I could do something about it. I was like, I don't know the Quokka people. I'll try my best.
Get him on the horn, Forrest.
Yeah, you just watch the other pictures.
Yeah.
It's like if porn went away, we still have enough to watch. You know, you still had enough pictures of
you
quokkas.
scroll back in the feed, but it was nice that one did pop up every hour. It really, watered down your feed.
Did we read this review on a previous episode?
I don't remember that.
No, how would I know?
Comment world
This
guy.
is your job.
I'll
I'll
fill you in on something, Jack. I haven't read anything for months.
This is your job, Jack.
So this is a review called "Don't Listen to the Hate."
Oh boy.
5 stars for the record.
Yeah.
It says, "This show is genius. First of all, there is a woman on there, Kelly, smoking hot blonde. She is secretly plugging her OnlyFans. Every episode, she is dropping hints at a code or link.
Wait, that's really funny because
it works. You
I
keep
did
coming
make
back.
an Instagram post today about a fake OnlyFans account. Shit.
This is from
Person's on
September.
to me.
I think they go, there's this mentally handicapped boy named Jack. He is just so sweet and tries real hard. Very endearing. Forrest, he says he's a comedian. I think it's one of those things that's said ironically.
Oh.
Ouch.
Boo.
Jeez, all right.
Then there's
Don't
Jim.
listen to the hate.
Don't believe the hate.
Then there is Jim. His years of drinking and drug usage have left him perma-fried. He babbles incoherent nonsense. It's like giving Ozzy Osbourne his own platform. This show is amazing. 5 stars. Thank you, Ganelon76 from the United States.
Hey, you know what you're talking about. Go fuck yourself.
5 stars.
All right, any more, Jack?
Couple more. Someone watching that plastic bottle of Iron Brew alone, surrounded by disrespect, made by Scottish Soul Ache. God bless Kelly.
Oh, yeah, I was saying I liked it.
Surrounded by disrespect.
Sitting there alone. Hey,
Freedom.
And then the last bit is people are upset we've never gotten to that story we keep pushing because we're busy.
Oh, we're going to do that right now, right?
oh, I can tell you the story.
Nah, we can't do it today.
All right.
All right.
Mack Weldon is a premium men's essential brand that delivers in smart designs and high-quality fabrics. Mack Weldon offers a one-stop shop for men's basics. You know your basics. You got your socks, your shirts, your hoodies, your underwears, your polos, and your active shorts, whatever you need. You might one day, we're going to go out of the house in just socks and a polo. You'll be ready. Mack Weldon has you covered. Unlike the assortment of department store brands that make up your top drawer, all of Mack Weldon's basics have a consistent fit that you can count on. You can count on them. You're not going to put them on and go, these ones aren't like the larges I had before. Unless you get fat. That's not up to Mac. That's not up to Mac. You're not always going to be a size 2, girls. It's quarantine.
Yeah, Mac is always consistent, but you might not be consistent.
Also, it's menswear, so... For socks, shirts, hoodies, underwear, polos, and active short, Mack Weldon promises comfort and a constant fit. You're not just going to look great in Mack Weldon, because you will look great, because their underwear, socks, and shorts perform well as well. They don't just look great, they perform in the performance area, from working out, from going to work, or if you're on a date. You could be on a date.
The underwear and polo date.
Yeah.
Love that.
Mack Weldon is for everyday life.
I'm looking forward to this next part.
Mack Weldon offers a wide range of customized fabrics that can keep up with you no matter what your day looks like. 18-hour, silver, art knits, dry knit,
Air Knit X.
warm knit.
What are these words?
I think these are types of customized fabrics.
I think it's part of my 18-hour silver Air Knit X.
And it X.
I actually don't dry Kinnear. I don't know.
I think it's dry knit.
No, it's dry knit.
Yeah.
Water knit. It's got all the fabrics.
Warm
It's
knit.
got them all.
Warm
The
knits,
good
though.
ones.
Yeah.
Mack Weldon was created has created a totally free loyalty program. Level 1 gets you free shopping for life. That's just level 1. Level 1, free shipping for life. Once you reach level 2, it's, Tom Cruise is like level number 1.
Is that how it works?
Yeah.
Scientology.
Once you reach level 2 by spending $200, Mack Weldon gives you 20% off every order for the next year.
Wow.
And you're getting the free shipping then as well. Mack Weldon wants you to be comfortable. So if you don't like your first pair of underwear, you keep them. And they'll send you a refund, no questions. They don't want you sending the underwear back. Obviously, they've had to put this in their ad reads because a lot of you have been sending the underwear back. You just keep them. They're a gift.
Please
we don't want your
not
skid marks.
send the underwear back.
I love my Mack Weldons. What do you think of yours, Forrest?
Smooth. They're great. Very supportive.
Did you send them back?
No, they're great, Jack.
Great.
I didn't send them back.
Yeah.
Why would I
Great.
send them back? They're great.
Just verify.
That's what you chimed in with on this ad read?
For 20% off your first order, visit mackweldon.com/I don't know and enter the promo code I don't know. So that's for 20% off. Visit mackweldon.com/I don't know and enter the promo code I don't know. This episode is sponsored by Blue Chew. Guys, remember the days when you were ready to go? When you're just walking around with a stiffy, like, boom, I can have sex. Boom, I can have sex. Those days are over. Now you can increase your performance and get that extra confidence in bed. Listen up. BlueChew.com. That's blue like the color blue and chew like chew. Blue Chew brings you the first chewable with the same FDA-approved active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis.
Oh.
You can take them anytime, day or night, or really early in the morning if you've got some sex going, even on a full stomach, so you can be ready when the opportunity arises. Oh, woo woo. If you could benefit from more confidence where it counts, Blue Chew is the fast and easy way to enhance your performance. Blue Chew is prescribed online by licensed physicians. They're doctors to me and you. So you don't have to go to the doctor's office and wait in line like a moron at the pharmacy, just standing there, just like I want an erection. All right? You can get it shipped to your door discreetly in a discreet package. They're made in the USA, American-made stiffies. None of these ones from China that come over and they work a few times and then you have to throw them in the bin.
These are freedom boners.
These are good ones. Made in the USA.
right.
And since Blue Chew prepares and ships direct, they're cheaper than a pharmacy. No awkwardness. You know how much I hate awkwardness.
When Jack has to go shopping for
And leaving the house.
boner
and leave
pills
it,
for
and
you.
you don't have to leave the house. Oh my God! If there was only a way we could all stay indoors recently.
Jack needs confidence.
Right now, we've got a special deal for our listeners. Visit BlueChew.com and with your first shipment free. What? I didn't expect the offer to be that good.
Yeah.
Only if you visit the site, you get the shipment for free when you use
natural.
the special promo code JIM, JIM, and pay $5 shipping. Wait a minute. You get your first. Did you get it free or not?
Yeah. Your first shipment's free.
First shipment's free.
The
And
product's
then you
free
use-
and you pay
use
$5 shipping.
Then you use, your first
Oh, your
shipment's free.
first shipment will be.
Yeah.
I thought it was just the shipping were free.
Yeah.
The pills are free.
Yeah.
All you have to do is pay $5 for the shipping.
Yeah.
Oh, this deal's getting better by the second. Again, that's BLUEchew.com, promo code JIM to try it for free.
I like you said it's getting better by the second. It's been the same. He just read it
Just
differently.
Blue Chew
comprehension's getting
is
better by
the
the
better, cheaper choice. And we thank them for sponsoring the podcast. And remember, when you support your sponsors,
Our sponsors.
when you support our sponsors,
Your sponsors is like an AA meeting.
he needs a few bucks. He's been out of work for 9 months. You help make this podcast possible. So please be sure to use the promo code JIM at BlueChew.com. Use the code. What is it going to hurt you? Free erection. $5 shipping. You just got to type in JIM. Get into it. Come on. Give them what they want.
Let's introduce our guests. Please welcome to the show Cian O'Clery and Jodie Rodgers.
Hello.
Good morning.
Yeah, I can already tell they're Australian. So can I ask?
Yeah.
I ask the questions.
So Cian and Jodi, this is the part of the show called Judging a Book by Its Cover. Jim does not know what we are going to be talking about today, so he's trying to guess what you guys have come on the show to talk about by asking yes or no questions.
Okay, before I start this, I have to reference something that Forrest said to me about 4 days ago. Forrest said the next subject we're doing is quite serious, so behave. Right?
I'm so glad he warned you.
So we got two Australians. I'm going to assume it's not pies and didgeridoos. It's going to be. Are you involved in the plight of the Indigenous people of Australia?
No.
Oh, right. Okay, good. Whew.
Now we
Could
can
have gone
some
horribly
fun.
wrong. Are you scholars? Are you academics?
No.
No, Jodi, you can tell she's Australian because she puts an E on the end of her nose. Americans go mad for that. I've learned to say no like that, but we go no.
No.
Okay, so you're not scholars. And you're not someone who's not science. Are you? Do you work with the environment?
Nope.
No. Okay.
Okay. Do you want a hint?
Yeah, I would.
Okay. I think you've seen Jodi before. You haven't seen Cian before.
Have I met in person?
No.
Oh, okay, let me have a look at Jodi here. No, she's taking her glasses off. It was a real Superman moment there.
Now he's got it.
How dozy a bitch was Lois Lane. Let's not talk about it, right? All those years she worked with Clark Kent and nothing, and then she was dating Superman, and the guy takes his glasses off. Oh wow, they were the worst disguise in history. In the superhero, it was the first disguise. It was like when someone wrote the first comic book of Superman, they just went, just give him some glasses. Different. Everyone else is wearing a ring where they morph into a different person. They swill around. This guy just wore fucking glasses.
Why were they Australian in the first comic book? I think you just did. Yeah.
No, they weren't Australian.
Oh, you just did it.
Oh no, that's how I read it.
Oh, okay.
Have you seen any of my acting? I can't do accents.
Yeah. Okay, so you've seen it before.
Okay, so I've seen it before. Did you used to work at St Ives High as a teacher in some way?
No. I was once a teacher, but I've never at St Ives High.
Oh, did you teach history?
No, I didn't.
What did you teach? You can answer that one. I'm letting you. I'm breaking the rules.
I'm letting you.
I taught within the special education area.
Oh, okay. Okay, so now you work.
Yeah, because I might have given it away the other day when I asked.
So I've already seen it before. She works with dyslexics.
No.
Works with disabled people.
No. You're not going to get it.
Right.
You've seen the show Love on the Spectrum.
Oh, Love on the Spectrum.
Yeah, and
I watch Love on the Spectrum.
Yes. She appears on the show, and Cian is the director of the show, and we're talking about autism today.
Autism, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And so let me introduce him. Jodie Rodgers. She has a master's degree in sexology and is a qualified teacher, special educator, and counselor. Jodie has worked within the education and community sectors in both Australia and internationally, and has extensive experience working with people with intellectual disability and autistic people.
When you say degree in sexology, is that... sorry, Karen.
Jodie's private practice, Birds and Bees, specializes in delivering counseling services for people with disability with a focus on sexuality, sexual health, and relationships, as well as delivering training for other professionals.
Well, that answered my question.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know, I don't know if you've seen my stand-up, but I took a person with muscular dystrophy to a brothel in Melbourne. That was, I did. That was a thing I did about 11 years ago. I took a friend of mine who's since passed, but he wanted to go to. It was one of my best friends and his brother, and so my friend asked me, and we took him out to the brothel and all that type of stuff. And then he got a blowjob. We wouldn't let him have full sex because we were worried that because he died a couple of times already. Right, we were worried that his heart would give out, right? And so we negotiated with the guy. We said, "We'll take you, but you're only getting a blowjob, no full sex." And so he agreed. And then we took him in there, we undressed him, and then we stood out the front of the door, just like, God, I hope you don't bloody die. And I looked at me mate and I said, "Your mum doesn't like me already." You know what I mean? Like, this is not going to improve my relationship with your parents, right? Anyway, they still don't know, but if they're listening. Anyway, so
If you've done the stand-up special.
I've done a stand-up
You did
special,
a
but
sitcom,
maybe they won't piece it together. Anyway, so the next time, so I go off, I do a stand-up special that involves this story. Then I do a whole sitcom called Legit, which was the pilot episode was based around this whole situation. Then I come back and I see my mate Dan. And I said, did you watch this show? And he goes, you owe me, bloody, you've made a lot of money out of bloody the story and all that stuff. And I said, you know what, you're right. And I said, I'll take you to the brothel again, right? So I went to take him to the brothel again, thinking this was the second time he'd ever had a blowjob, right?
Yeah.
I walk in and they greet him like he's Norm from Cheers. They all go, Dan! There's like a fucking mug with his name on it, right? It turns out that he'd given this sob story to every fucker who had ever entered his bedroom. He goes about once a week.
That's amazing.
Our other guest today, Cian O'Clery, is a two-time Australian Directors Guild award-winning director and producer. His latest series, Love on the Spectrum, followed the stories of young adults on the autism spectrum as they navigate the world of dating and relationships. Originally made for Australia's public broadcaster, it has been picked up by Netflix and released globally. Cian started out working on feature films, working jobs ranging from a cat trainer on Babe, Pig in the City. Love that movie.
I love that movie. Magnus Urbanski played me mum in Legit.
Yeah, to Baz Luhrmann's Driver on Australia, to Set PI Matrix 2 and 3, and Cian's attracted to projects that have something to say while remembering who they are for the audience. So thank you for both being here, Cian and Jodi. Can you just say a few things just about the show? I mean, we'll talk about it a little bit later, too.
I watched a little bit of this show like 2 days ago. Another
did you?
episode.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
seen it a few times, yeah.
Can you just talk about the show Love on the Spectrum and then how the two of you came to meet? I don't know if you knew Jodi ahead of time, right? Just a little bit of background between the two of you. So.
Well, yeah, I guess we came up with the idea for the show after working on other projects with people with disabilities. So we'd worked with a lot of people with autism before. So I came up with the concept for the show and we developed it and got funding, which was great because it's actually quite hard to get an original idea up in Australia. And we started moving ahead with the show and we were looking for people who we could feature in the series that would offer support to some of our guys who were wanting it and needing it in terms of social skills, dating skills. And yeah, we just came across Jodi one day and it was one of those moments where we instantly knew that she was the right person. You know, as soon as we kind of started talking to her, we knew she'd be great. She's just so, you know, warm and engaging and human and very different to a lot of, I guess, specialists that you might see or that you might meet who might be quite dry and yeah, as you can see, she's just such a warm and you know, friendly person.
It's coming through the Zoom in spades. I gotta say. No, how did you find the people to be on the show? Because normally for a reality show, you advertise, and then people. I imagine, especially the people with the level of autism you have, because I know there is a spectrum that goes. You know, if you want to give it 100% scale, there's the people who are mildly autistic to severely autistic. How did you find the people? The not contestants. Contestants is a bad word.
I don't know.
The subjects.
The people you exploited. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No. How did you find them?
Yeah. Well, we call them participants.
That's the word I was bloody looking for. Participants.
Yeah. Well, look, every possible way you can imagine, except the way that you would find people for a reality show. So every way possible, bar casting agents. You know, so. Disability employment organizations, support groups, social groups. I mean, we even went to comic conventions with a big sign and a desk saying, here, this is what we're doing, because we know that a lot of people on the spectrum are in that kind of comic convention.
Went to the casino, who was counting cards?
Yeah. We kind of did everything you could possibly imagine in terms of trying to spread the word. And it was all about spreading the word about what we're doing and then waiting for people to come to us who expressed interest in being a part of the show. And like you said, when we talk about diversity, you know, we really wanted to feature a real range of people on the spectrum as much as you can within this space. So at the end of the day, it's all about who actually wants to be in a relationship, who wants to date. So, you know, yeah, we tried every which way possible, even, you know, contacting specialists such as Jodi and saying, who do you know that might be interested, and just spreading the word throughout the country as much as we could.
And so you guys worked on another show together, so or a couple other shows together that you were saying.
Not with Jodi, no.
Jodi's
No, this
shaking
was
her
the
head.
first time we worked with Jodi.
No, Jodi's shaking her head in a way to say never again.
I'd never been involved in anything like. I've never been involved in television or ever experienced a camera, or this was completely foreign.
I'll tell you
for
something,
me,
Jodi.
the whole
I've never
concept.
been involved in Australian television either. And I actively tried for years.
Yeah, you're ahead of Jim Jefferies.
You're doing way better than Jim.
Well, you were great on TV. I thought so. And I was saying the other day, because we were talking to both of you, I think it was really, the thing that I really thought was great about the show was the humanizing factor of it, but also was just like using this thing, dating, which it's really scary to everybody. And then showing that, people that are on autism spectrum, that it's like it really kind of makes this equating.
It's like the equalizer, the great equalizer.
Yeah, leveling the playing field. And then it's just, you immediately identify with them. Like, yeah, I've been in that situation where you're just sitting in the corner at a restaurant waiting for someone to come in, and you're freaking out about like just having that talk, So
Yeah, you think you're wearing your best outfit, you're ready to go.
Yeah. Everybody knows that first date fear.
Yeah.
I was telling Jodi, it's like such a heartwarming series, honestly. Like, because I think most of the time when there's anything done on disabilities or anything like that, there's this overlying tone that's a little morose and sad, but the way you guys portrayed that, it just really showed how people with autism can live great full lives and have love and be happy. And it was just like every moment of it I thought was really special, so kudos to you guys.
I know Amy Schumer's a big champion of the show. She's tweeted a lot about it. Do you know that? Or... No?
Yeah, we did notice that. Yeah, that was great. That was really nice to see. I mean, it's quite a strange experience for us, being Australian TV producers, to kind of suddenly have the show hitting Netflix globally. It was a big thing. So, that was really exciting. And I think actually quite a lot of people in the comedy community in the States have responded to it, which is great.
We have a lot of autistic comedians. Like we do. I had a doctor once say that I may be or something like that, but there's such a hard thing to gauge. I think I'm just awkward.
Yeah, well. So here's what we're going to do.
Jerry Seinfeld claims he is now.
Oh, does
really?
he?
Yeah. What's the deal with?
So we thought that would be a good idea to have you guys come on and talk about autism, and maybe people that are listening to this can learn about it if they don't know about it, because I don't think people think they know about it, but they probably don't.
I think I know a little bit about it.
Yeah, so we'll see. So I'm gonna ask Jim what he thinks he knows about autism, and we're gonna prod him along with some questions. You guys can just listen in. I'll take some notes, like as we're going along too, and then we're gonna grade Jim on how well he did. You guys, being the experts, are gonna grade him on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the best on his knowledge. Kelly's gonna grade him 0 to 10 on confidence, and I'm gonna grade him 0 to 10 on etc. We've never done this, Jim, but here's what I propose today. If you score 21 through 30, that's the highest you can do. I'll make a donation to the charity of their choice. 11 through 20, we'll split it, and 0 to 10, you have to make the whole thing.
Wait a minute. They're Australian. It may not be autism. It could be some white supremacist group.
No, it's going to be an autism charity.
Oh, okay, an autism charity. All right, good. Just so we're all.
Wait, I don't know what I should have discussed this, guys, with you further, but earlier, if there's a specific charity,
you can reach out to us afterwards.
and we'll post that.
All right, you get as far as going to donate money.
No matter what, money's getting done.
All right, okay, good for you.
And as a quick note,
I'll double your donation for us.
Wait, you're donating if you get 0 through 10.
Oh.
You double that one.
I'll double any of them.
I'm double my own.
I'll double any of them.
as a quick note, we were talking to Jodi yesterday, and the vocabulary and vernacular surrounding this, it seems to be ever evolving. So there probably are terms that we use that we aren't realizing are outdated. So please feel free to school us on that if we ever get to that point.
Why are you giving that caveat like I'm just going to start saying terrible
because,
words?
because even the way that we got some of the questions were just on an outdated site and stuff like that. So things change rapidly. We want to make sure that we're accessing,
All right.
Yeah, but that's the
right
point of
word.
us doing the podcast.
Yeah.
Everyone learns.
because
So.
we're learning stuff.
Yep.
All right, Jim, what is autism?
Autism is a nerve thing where things don't quite compute. You don't translate things in your mind completely correct. It may show up in things. You get agitated very easily. You have problems with making eye contact. Don't listen to others sometimes when they talk. That type of thing. It was only diagnosed though in, I want to say, like the 80s or something like that. And I learned that from the vaccination thing, and that's why a lot of people think that vaccinations have something to do with autism, because the spike in people being anti-vaxxers came out around the same time that autism was more widely.
You don't think that though, just so they know. I know you don't, but
what?
You're not an anti-vaxxer.
I'm not an anti-vaxxer. No. The spike in people believing in anti-vaxxing came around the same time that diagnosing more people with autism, and that was a parallel thing. So the anti-vaxxers went, when we used to have autistic people all the time, but they were just called odd or awkward or whatever. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And now, you know, there's lots of things that developmentational or learning difficulties, such as attention deficit disorder or whatever, that have come up through the decades, and now people, rather than just being called, like if someone was called stupid, they can't read, now there's dyslexia has come in, and we started to figure out what these issues are, and that just coincided with the anti-vaxxers movement.
So what are common traits? You enlisted some. You said no eye
contact. Eye contact's a problem. The not being able to compute what other people are saying to you, instructions and stuff like that. I learnt from the Asperger's or Buster that there's several of them are late. I don't know if that's anything. That might just be the four guys.
From what? What did you?
There's a comedy troupe called Asperger's or Us, which HBO did a comedy special on, where they're four guys and they traveled around. Oh, the country.
You mentioned.
Yeah, I mentioned they travel around the country doing stand-up comedy and sketches, and it's very weird because they always complain that they go, everyone's coming because they have a relative with Asperger's or something. We want people to just come for the comedy, and it's like, well, you did put that in the title. You really.
So you say tardiness? I think that might be just those people.
It might just be those. It might just be a coincidence. There's just those, but also obsession on a single task.
Okay.
Where they reckon that in the NFL, more people have Asperger's who are field goal kickers, because it's a repetitive task that they can nail and do over and over and over again. But it could be something that addresses itself in, you're obsessed with numbers or a thing or models or something, but they get obsessive about things.
Okay. How is it diagnosed?
Doctors do that.
Okay, thank you. So not mechanics?
Yeah.
When I get my oil changed and found out I'm autistic.
It's done by doctors, and that's how they do it.
Okay, well,
they put you through a few tests and stuff.
Tests.
They make you do a few
tests.
I have a feeling you might be donating today.
Is it a physical, emotional, or behavioral disorder?
It's all three.
Okay, all three.
Yeah, it's all three. Less physical than anything else, but they can get very easily agitated if you touch them or grab them. People who don't know come close to them, they can physically repel from that type of thing. Emotional, because they can get frustrated very easily, and intellectual, because their brains are wired slightly differently.
Okay, just so you know, I don't know if I mentioned this, we will go back through all these questions so they can be corrected.
You can correct me very, very quickly.
When was the first person diagnosed with autism, and do you know who it was?
It was a German guy called Asperger. And it was in. No, I don't know. What do you mean? Why would I know that?
Do you know when? Do you know when the?
I would say 1982.
1982. Okay. And then Asperger's syndrome. You just mentioned that.
Yeah.
What is that?
I don't know the difference, man.
Don't know the difference.
Okay. I don't know about that.
Is there any group more likely than another to be diagnosed with autism?
What do you mean, like whites? What are you trying to say? I feel like
well, you watch the show.
I feel like men have it more than women. I feel like it's more prevalent with men. But that might be because just men are awkward. You know what I mean? Like if you meet Jack, he's just awkward. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But
that's fine as far as a group.
I'm going to say more men than women. Yes.
Okay, so there was a follow-up question. Does it affect boys and girls equally?
No, I believe men get it more.
Okay.
Because we have to approach women to ask them on dates, and so women that could go undiagnosed for years while we're all just awkwardly walking up to you going, "Oh, you're pretty."
Yeah, it's more obvious with us.
Are these doctors going to the bars with you?
Like if you're a hot chick, we can't find out any condition you have. No one knows anything besides your hotness.
Okay, according to CDC data, and maybe you guys have different data, I don't know, in that came out in 2020, based on 2016 data, one in how many children have an autism
on the spectrum, it's quite high. I'm going to say 1 in 20. Like on the spec, and then like 1 in 30 severely or something like that. It could be 1 in 10 mildly, and then 1 in 20 severely.
Okay, are numbers going up or down?
Numbers are going up, but a lot of people argue that's because diagnosing it is going up.
Or because diagnosing is going.
Yeah, because it's becoming more people are citing it a lot quicker.
It's like the idea of getting a COVID test. You won't be positive for COVID if you don't get the test.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, perfect.
Exactly.
That's why we shouldn't have any tests.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
How is autism treated?
I don't know if there's any. As I said, I had a doctor say that I might. Okay, so I don't know if there's a medication as such, but I believe therapy is the main way. I don't know if there's a magic pill.
Okay, so you don't know. Okay.
I think there's a lot of, like with any learning disability, there's a lot of therapy and a lot of, because the one of the problems that people with autism has is not that they're stupid or anything like that, but they have to be taught in a different way. Mm-hmm. The way they compute, the way that they take in information, the way because many of them are extraordinarily smart. Mm-hmm. And so it's just a different learning patterns, or I don't know if that's a word for therapy. But
what about cannabis? Can that help?
Always. Always, not as much as cocaine. I hear that cocaine is your number one treatment for autism.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Rain Man was counting cards more than he needed to.
What can parents, family members do to help children or adults with autism on the disorder?
Well, get the diagnosis as quickly as possible, and then go through the therapy, and then also join support groups and whatnot, where other people have children with autism, and you don't feel as alone in society when you meet other people.
There's a couple questions I missed in here. Age range of most people diagnosed, like what age?
Oh,
do they get? Is like the most?
What's the most common age?
I think the sweet spot is sort of 7 to 14 is when you get diagnosed.
Okay, that's and then I think
they can tell even earlier. But I have a friend whose child has autism. They found out about 5 or something like that.
Here's an important one. What are the most common misconceptions about autism?
The misconception that they're all extraordinarily good at numbers. I know I've already made some jokes about that, but that's a thing that they're,
that's because of the movie, probably.
Well,
right?
the reason it's not the numbers as such. It's not that they're naturally good at numbers, but they do they get obsessive about tasks. So if they choose that to be their task, they can get very good. But it isn't the autism that's making them.
But that's a misconception.
Misconception that they're actually counting better because of the autism.
So counting is the only misconception.
Fucking! What do you want me to say?
You mentioned that it's caused by vaccines.
Yeah. Caused by vaccines. It's not caused by vaccines.
Yeah, that's a big one.
That's a misconception.
Why do you you're trying to make me?
But I already said that earlier.
Yeah,
okay. I said it earlier.
Okay, I think we're good. We're gonna go back through this. All right. Thank you for listening, Jodi.
I think I did all right.
And Cian. On a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the best, how did Jim do on his knowledge of autism?
I thought you did pretty well, Jim.
Oh, thank you.
Some of it was terrible, though.
Yeah.
Some of it was terrible. Okay.
I'll give you. I think 7 3/4.
See, that's Australian for you, because she goes, some of it was pretty good, but you had a go.
Do you agree?
What do you think, Cian?
Yeah, do you agree, Cian? 7 3/4.
Yeah, pretty similar, I think. Yeah, some pretty good answers, some quite well informed. I think maybe you learned a lot from Love on the Spectrum, Jim. I'm hoping.
I think I did.
Okay.
Oh, I reckon 7.5.
Oh, so, all right, we'll split the
7.5 3/4.
7 and 5/8.
Just give me a solid 15.
No, we're not combining them. No, that's just their average. Yeah, okay, 7.5.
7.62.
Yeah, you go with the lowest score.
All right. Okay. Talk about people with numbers.
Kelly, confidence. 0 to 10.
I actually thought he did better than you portrayed in confidence. So
Right.
I'm going to give you a 6 in confidence.
Well, you don't want to be too confident with
Right.
medical things.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? With other things like strongman competition, I can just be confident and it doesn't matter. But if I go autism, it's because of the aliens. Have you watched Ancient Aliens? They came down. If I do that too confidently, I'm fucked. So I've got to be a bit tentative.
That's a good point.
Okay, so and etc. I'm just going to give you a 10 because you said you'd match the donation,
All
anyways,
right.
and that way you and I both donate, and so your combined score of 23.5. What's a good? I should have asked you this before. I think since your show is based in Australia and you guys are nice enough to be on here, is there a specific charity that you would know, like related to autism, that is Jodi or Cian or?
Putting you on the spot.
Think about that one. What do you reckon, Jodi? I mean, Jodi worked for one before, but there's a few others. That
Is your organization a charity? The Birds and the Bees?
No, I'm in private practice as a
We can
sexologist.
edit this all out. All this meandering around. By the way,
let's just cut to the chase. Give me an autistic person, I'll buy him a hooker. I'll do it. That's the big charitable thing. I like to see where the money goes.
We'll talk about it afterwards, and I'll give $250, and Jim will match that. And we'll give $500 to whatever charity you think is good. And then I think the point of that is just if you know locally, whatever country you're listening to this in, you know, if you're looking for something to donate to, you know, look to your local charities.
We'll put it up on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
Everyone will see where we're going.
Okay, so let's get started. What is autism? Jim said it's nerves.
Neurological.
Neurological. You didn't say that at the time.
Yeah, but that's what nerves means.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Travel, computing things.
I don't call legs walking sticks either.
Yeah. Can you give us even though Jim did a good job, can you give us a better answer for what is autism? Either one.
Well, I'd actually was laughing about the nerve, but I understand because it is a neurological disorder.
Yeah.
So, and you know, people have it prior to birth. It's from in utero. So yeah, it's lifelong neurological. But I had written down nerve with a question mark.
I would have got an extra quarter point if I said neurological. That
You
was the
would
word
have.
I was
You
looking
would have.
for.
Yeah.
You know, saying it's a nervy thing. Didn't quite,
I told you there's some vocabulary that has been updated.
It takes me a while. I got the word neurological.
Look, you're a doctor.
You
Look at
did.
the diploma behind you.
Yeah,
medicine,
in medicine.
college, or
Medicine.
diploma university.
Yeah.
That's neurological.
Neurological. Okay. And then some common traits. Jim said no eye contact. They have trouble computing or communicating.
I'm talking about my own problems. Never calling girls back.
Obsessive over things. What are some common traits of autism?
Do you want to answer that, Jodi? I think Jodi's kind of got more to say on this. The obsessions thing, I think, was really spot on as well. Having a special interest is something a lot of people have a really strong interest in something, such as, you know, Mark with his dinosaurs in the show.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll let Jodi talk about the other ones. People being late, that's probably not as common. I would say people being exceptionally on time is probably more common, wouldn't it be, Jodi?
yeah. Well, I mean, you got to remember everyone's different. We'll probably be able to get to that when Jim's talking about how many people are actually on the spectrum or autistic. But even something like eye contact, people think that the eye contact is a trait of autism. And originally, you know, in the time that I've worked with people, there's been the diagnosis has changed 3 or 4 times. And originally it was people with autism didn't give eye contact, and that was one of the things that was the diagnostic criteria. But that's not true anymore. What we actually talk about is, I'm taking my glasses off for you, Jim, so I can show you.
Okay.
But
What? Who's
one
this?
of the things they talk about is how we. It's more about how we use our eyes for communication. So they talk about eye gaze. So the same thing would be is that you may not, because you just said you've got problems with this, Jim. But it's if I just penetratively looked at somebody with my eyes and never ever broke eye contact ever, that's also not kind of a typical way we use our eyes. We use our eyes continually for communication. So I could use my eyes to tell somebody to pick something up by looking at them, looking at the object, looking back at you. We can do that quite quickly. So it's what we call eye gaze, or the use of the way that we use our eyes. Some people on the spectrum hate eye contact with another person. Some people just really look at other people without breaking eye contact, or sometimes they don't use their eyes in a similar way. So that's changed quite a bit. And when you were talking about, we talk about focus. So I call it the again and again and agains. And Jim, you called it sort of, you were saying, that you do it, continually. But there's a part of autism that's called repetitive and restricted interests and behaviour. And that's a diagnostic criteria. And that can be a really focused special interest on one area or several things, and sometimes that can be a brilliant focus and it can really increase somebody's life into being extraordinary. Sometimes if that focus is something, sometimes the focus inhibits somebody's life from
Like
being...
if it's murder.
Yeah, serial killer. That wouldn't be great. That wouldn't be great. But that's not what... Often it could be something like, say, somebody's got a massive focus where they become obsessed with gambling or poker machines or see, it can become...
Have you seen Speed Cubers?
What's that?
Speed Cubers. It's
Rubik's
the
Cubes?
Rubik's Cube.
Yeah.
That lad who was this. There was an Australian guy who.
Well, Love on the Spectrum. I forget who it was, but that was the one that was getting married.
Watch Speed Cube is
Jimmy.
very interesting. There's a lad there was an Australian bloke who's very good at it, and then there was this one kid who was autistic, who just was constantly solving Rubik's cubes all day, all day, and it's a beautiful movie about the bond that these two had.
Oh, it's a movie.
It's a documentary. It's a documentary, but it's a very sweet film.
Oh yeah. Okay, and then so obsessive. That's what you were saying, and then anything else, or is that? I guess.
Yeah, usually just the diagnosis is looking for what we call differences. I always think about the bell curve. Like we all kind of have differences in areas, but it's the impact on your day-to-day life. And diagnostically, they look for two areas: social communication, so how we interact with each other and how easy it is for people to interact with each other, and that repetitive and restricted interest and behaviour.
Now, I don't mean to be a contrarian here or something. Okay, so is there what's the word I want to use here? Is there a danger that we can overdiagnose people? Because when I was a kid, I was diagnosed with attention deficit disorder, and then dyslexia, and then someone said I might have a bit of autism, and then on and on and on. And aren't we just people with personalities? Isn't that just personality traits? And can we overdiagnose a personality and call it a condition? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Makes sense. I mean, I would think that there's. I could be off, but I would think that there are probably people who aren't autistic but have certain autistic tendencies, right?
I mean, there's people. Well, I 100% believe in autism.
So
I'm
I think
not saying I don't believe it.
No, but they would probably go in an umbrella.
Is there a danger sometimes that we can overdiagnose people, or is that, or are these very defined things in science that we actually can quintessentially say that these are facts?
This is a personal opinion, so remember that, because I'm only able to do that as well with you. But diagnosing autism is really complex. It's a really, really complex thing. And Jim, you said, the only people that can diagnose autism is a doctor. And it's not just a doctor. You actually have to be able to, and we can only see autism by observable behaviours. Our science isn't all that great. And this is neurological. We're not even cluey enough to understand how our minds work at the moment. Or it's not like we can do a scan of the brain and go, there's that neurology of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder or autism or any other neurological disorder. So all we can do is sit back and watch somebody and go, they're a bit quirky. But you can't get a diagnosis of autism just because you're quirky. Quirky's great. We want people to have all of this. That's what makes the world beautiful, that humans are so different and that we all come and approach things. Autism is a diagnosis given to people that have difficulty or complexity with day-to-day functioning. And I'm not talking about functioning as in putting your shoes on or getting your undies on. I'm talking about it's got to be complexity where their social interaction with other people or the way that their obsessive characteristics or their sensory processing or their auditory processing makes it difficult for them to learn,
right,
and makes it difficult for them to interact with other people. So I'm with you. No way should we be pathologizing personalities.
Right.
No way in hell, and no way should we be pathologizing people who are a little bit eccentric, or because what is that anyway?
Can someone with severe autism can they live by themselves, or is it possible? Like, how do they venture out in the world if they have severe autism? Do they need constant care, or what happens there?
Cian, are you all right for me to keep talking? Because I feel like I'm...
Yeah, well, you're the one with all the right answers.
So then,
I would just say that, before Jodie speaks, I guess the only thing I would say is that, which we started to touch on, but everyone is so different. Every person on the spectrum is different, which is why it's really hard to talk about, because you can say that these traits are common with certain people, but just even seeing the show and then all the people that are out there on the spectrum that we weren't able to tell their stories. There's so many different personalities within it that it's hard to, I guess, put people in a box. But yes, when you're talking about severe autism, some people are really badly affected, aren't they, Jodie?
Mm. Yeah, and probably Jimmy, you were talking a little bit more. We don't even use the terminology. Asperger's is no longer even used diagnostically.
In Australia, because I know in America I hear people use that term a lot. Or is that just across the board we don't use that anymore?
Well, I think because what we do, we've turned it into kind of a cultural thing. I might say about you, oh, geez, you're a bit aspy, or that's a bit aspy, or oh, that's a bit. But what it was originally is prior to the 90s, people were only diagnosed with autism, or what we call classic autism, and to have that you had to have an intellectual disability. So you've got to remember, you can be on the spectrum, that's why they call it a spectrum, but you can also have any type of intellectual and cognitive capacity. So prior to the 90s, people had autism. Every single person who had a diagnosis also had an intellectual disability. Right. An intellectual disability can be people that have profound intellectual disability or severe intellectual disability, where they need 24-hour-a-day support with their personal care, with safety, with being able to navigate environments. So then in the 90s, people all of a sudden, Asperger, who was this fella from Germany, so he first saw this in the 1940s, but because of where he was, we didn't really think about, he was from Vienna and German, writing in the 1940s. Follow what a German's saying in the 40s.
He was busy having his house having holes in its walls.
Yeah, exactly right. So, but he was seeing a group of people that they didn't have intellectual disability. So when we talk about Asperger's, we're talking about all the same traits, all the same diagnostic criteria as autism. Everything's the same on the spectrum, but these people do not have an intellectual disability.
Oh, so there is a difference. So I was wrong I was wrong. I said I didn't know. Forrest?
Yeah.
There's a difference.
Yeah.
Also, when you say Aspie with an Australian accent, that does sound like a pub up the end of your road. You're like,
wouldn't that be good? The Aspie.
Yeah, we should all go meet at the fucking Aspie. I hear they've got a comedy night on a Tuesday down at the Aspie.
If it was at the Aspie, it would have to be routinely and regularly there at exactly the same time every Tuesday night.
I asked him when the first person was diagnosed. He said in the 80s, and he didn't know who.
Well, I'm going to say in a big way where it was common knowledge. Like if they're saying from the 40s, it was
first
discovered.
First person.
I'm going to say in the 80s. Yeah.
You're going to still stick with it, even though
Yeah.
Do we know who that was? The first person that was diagnosed, or that? I think
his name was the guy's name was Leo Kanner. He was the first person, and that was in the 40s, 1943. Kanner was the person that he was a psychologist, and he was the first. He called this autism, and I think the first person was a young kid. His name was Donald.
Yeah,
who was the first person
and he's the
to
president,
have a diagnosis.
That explains what's happening in America.
He's fucking super focused.
In the 1940s.
Yeah.
He would have been about 12 then.
Right age.
We have Donald Gray Triplet is what we have here. He was born in 1933.
Then they changed it to Trump.
And
they moved over to America.
Okay, and so
is it Donald J?
No, it's Donald Gray.
Then they changed the Gray to J.
Are you about to go QAnon?
And the triplet to Trump.
Wow.
Donald J. Gray triplet. That's fucking close, man.
I think you're actually onto something.
That's very close. QAnon, reach out to me.
Yeah.
Got something for you.
Well,
Don't be associating that man with the
I know,
autism.
right?
yeah.
Oh, no.
It's the most hate mail you've ever gotten.
I don't know if there's an autistic person on earth who's paid for more abortions.
Can I just jump back quickly to the Asperger's and the terminology that a lot of people are using it, and I think Jodi probably knows about when they stopped using it as an official diagnostic term and they started calling it autism spectrum disorder, and they call them autism level 1, 2, and 3, I think. And is it level 1 that is the people who would have been diagnosed as Asperger's, Jodi?
Yes.
And I think so. The thing is, because it's that term that represents people who are in that, I know you're not supposed to use the term high functioning, but the people whose lives, I guess, are less affected by.
Why can't we use high functioning? I'm sorry, I thought that was me being polite when I said they're a high functioning person.
Because if you use high
a lot of people have called me a high functioning alcoholic. Anyway, carry on. Sorry.
I think it's because if you use the term high functioning, then you're saying that other people are low functioning, and I think it's just a term that it doesn't sit well.
Right. Oh, okay. No, that makes sense. I'll stop.
But I think a lot of people who were diagnosed as Asperger's when they were younger, or even people who weren't, but they just like to identify as that term because it kind of separates it from autism, and some people just like to, be identified as that.
Although I believe that Forrest is about to read out that I was correct about marijuana. So isn't that high functioning?
No, I'm just crashing my computer here with your
God, I have to pay $250 for the thing, and now I've got to buy Forrest a computer. I shouldn't have come to work today.
Nah, we're okay. I wasn't about to ask that. We haven't gotten there yet. But the Asperger's, or you were saying Asperger's, I don't know if I was mispronounced, but we're going to skip through that because we've already answered all those questions.
Well, the thing is, that guy shouldn't have called it after him. He shouldn't have named the condition after his name, because although in Germany we all know what those two words can be made into.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if there was a guy who discovered a condition, his name was Dick Hot Dog, right? Dick Hot Dog, right? We'd go, don't name it after you, Dick Hot Dog. Like, probably you should leave it alone. Yeah. Like, I think it was very selfish of Mr. Ass.
Mr. Ass. Men versus women. Is it diagnosed more in men than women? Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Currently, yes.
I hear there's a lot of women who have it, but they say they don't have it, and you don't know what you're talking about or something. I freaked out on that joke.
I know. You had like a stroke in the middle of that. Yeah. Like something happened with your face.
I was like, my period's not coming. It has nothing to do with that.
He saw the cancellation coming.
So currently, you said it is. It is.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think again, this is probably a Jodi answer again, but I'll give my kind of half-assed answer, which is that traditionally there were a lot more boys diagnosed than girls. I think it was something like 3 to 1, but that number's starting to the gap's starting to close as we learn more about the presentation of autism in females. So, like Jodi was talking about, the 80s and even just recently, we've only really learned about autism so recently. We talk to people on these series who are 25, and we talk to their parents, and the parents say when they were diagnosed when they were young, nobody knew anything. They were being told things like, oh, your child will be institutionalized for their lives, so it's pretty recent that we know that we really know about the condition itself.
When you said it presents itself differently, what are the different ways that a woman presents herself and a man presents himself with autism? What is the different symptoms?
This is I'll definitely leave this to Jodi, but my understanding is that women are actually better at masking and better at mimicking other people's behaviors and kind of
being devious.
Exactly. So a lot of girls will, as they're growing up, watch other people's behaviors in school and kind of mimic to try and fit in to the population, to the social groups.
Right.
And a lot of the girls that we've spoken to say and talk about just how exhausting that is, you know, and it's kind of a thing of when they get home from school or when they get home from a social event, they're just absolutely exhausted from kind of having to put on this mask. But Jodi, hand over to you, because you'll have a much better answer than me.
Yeah, well, that's exactly correct. They're basically now women are being. I mean, we learn more about autism every day because we listen to people who are autistic, and they tell us what autism is like for them. And the diagnosis is changing all the time. And as I was saying, I've worked with people for over 30 years, and I've seen it change 3 to 4 times as we learn more about autism. But one of the things that a lot of women are talking about is that in the social interaction and social communication area, that women, and remember, I'm speaking very generalist here, we're talking about hundreds of thousands of people, so this isn't the same for everybody. And there's big cultural differences as well. So if I'm working with somebody who, and I have grown up in Indonesia or Japan or China or the Indigenous Australian, we've got cultural difference in the way we socially communicate anyway. So that's one thing we've got to remember. A lot of diagnosis is through medical, but having access to the medical profession, and we remember that lots of people don't have a great access to that. But women do talk about the fact that, what's the best way? You know what? This is how the best way I explain it to people. You know, if you were going out to a big party, maybe not you, Jim, because you just seem to be able to, banter about whatever. But a lot of us, when we go out to,
I've been kicked out of a lot of big parties.
Well, a lot of us, when we go out to a really massive, big social function, and there's heaps of people there, but we don't know anyone. Yeah. So before you go, you're kind of already practicing in your head. Conversations that you might be able to have.
I do this every time I go to a party. Every time I go to a party, when I'm having conversations, I'm not listening to you talk. All my brain's doing is make sure you look like you're listening to them talk. and then my brain does this. My brain does this. It goes, ask them a question. How's your life? And I sit there and I listen to their boring fucking answer. I nod along with a smile. I'm the fucking worst. And I become obsessed when I go to a party. I get so obsessed with. And then I ask my wife now. I asked her, did I talk too much? Did I ask enough questions? And she goes, you didn't really ask enough questions, but you did. You made everyone laugh and everyone was happy. And it's because I get very awkward. This is something that just popped into my head.
I feel like we're diagnosing Jim in this episode.
Well, I've talked to doctors about.
We're pretty sure already.
So have you noticed? Not an influx is probably have you noticed a change in the condition with social media? Because social media is such an obsessive thing where you keep on checking your phone, you're looking at likes, and you feel acceptance, and then you feel you didn't get enough, and then you obsess about it. Has social media played a part in the people with autism in a negative or positive way? That question.
I was waiting for Cian to say something. That was me going, I'll just wait.
This is what I found out with having two guests. They look at each other.
And go.
That's right. It's a massive, it's different for everybody, Jim. That's it.
Jim wants
social
answers.
Media has been.
The answer can be there's no difference, but I feel like someone with autism could get very obsessive with social media, and it could be detrimental. But it's detrimental to all of us, in my opinion. But I feel like that could be a thing, but I might be wrong. Could be a wonderful thing.
I asked Jim how many children have one in how many children have an autism spectrum disorder. He said 20. 1 in 20. Do you guys have, this is from CDC.
I think
we
it's
got this.
fucking higher. It's higher, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think the latest that I have read was 1 in 59.
Still,
I have, based on 2016 data from the CDC, it was 1 in 54, so very close. And this.
But I thought like 1 in 100 people have severe autism. They say 1 in 100 have severe, and then I don't know.
The breakdown that I looked at earlier was saying basically like 31% or something like that had more severe autism, and then 41% had very special skills or were seen as extra smart. And then there were, the rest were in the middle somewhere. So I don't know if that's what you guys are.
Is that a myth, the extra smart thing? Is that a myth?
Yeah, it's called savant skill. So it's actually a different. So if somebody's, that's where lots of people, when we watch things like Rain Man was a blessing and a curse because it was one of those first movies where people went, oh, there's autism. But, that guy he was institutionalized. He needed care all the time, but he had what we call savant skills. And so then everybody went, oh my God, everyone with autism's a savant.
Do they stop using the term idiot savant? I used to say idiot savant.
Well, yeah, but exactly. But see, we're getting smarter these days, aren't we? So we don't call people idiots anymore.
Right. It was moron savant.
I like how you had to ask that. Have we stopped calling people idiots? I wanted to know.
I even thought in the 80s when I saw that movie to call someone an idiot savant.
Did they say that in the movie?
That was the term we used.
Oh, yeah.
It was idiot savant. That you were someone who was intellectually, in our minds, not quite there, who could do special skills. We called an idiot savant.
Yeah, it is true because I guess that was the first kind of mainstream presentation of autism. But it was after that, everyone's like, they can count cards and they can remember it and it's just not true, right? So it's
and a lot of people that we've worked with have commented on that and said that it hasn't done them any favors, that that kind of gave society an example of what people would think autism meant, and even things like the Good Doctor, people would say similar things. And that's one of the reasons why we wanted to make the show, was to kind of show the breadth of experiences and personalities that people with autism have in a documentary reality style setting, actually meeting real people, because the representations in drama have been fairly, I guess, what's the word? Restricted.
They're often represented by having, like the Good Doctor and Rain Man and stuff like that, of having a lack of empathy, and I don't think that's the right term.
We don't see it even in Love on the Spectrum. We don't see. I think it's
more a lack of awareness more than empathy. I don't think that they don't feel for others. Am I wrong or right?
No, we see it.
It's often in the thing, like the Doctor has no empathy, and he's just like, "This is what we got to do. This is what we got to do." And Rain Man only had empathy when he thought for himself, or when he got upset about his childhood or something like that.
I think that's the argument why representation is so important, because when you have these just singular instances of somebody representing an entire community of people, then people who watch that go, "This is how that group of people is," and that's why Love on the Spectrum was so brilliant, because you guys showed us a really vast, for lack of a better word, spectrum of people on that show too. So now we were able to see 10 different people's experiences, as opposed to this Hollywood movie that was written and we're supposed to feel a certain way about this group.
Yeah. That was kind of what we were hoping. Yeah. I mean, and we can always do better next time. And, that there's always more opportunity, because it is so incredibly diverse. I mean, it's pretty amazing how diverse it actually is. And the thing about, I guess, going back to the savant skills that Jodi was talking about, that's actually quite a different thing to the special interest or obsessions, isn't it, Jodi? So,
yeah, very different.
And savant skills are within a very small group of people on the spectrum. I mean, I've worked with a couple of people who had a skill like that, and I mean, it was amazing. It really was incredible. There was a girl called Christina that we filmed with, and she was really interested in petrol stations and geography. So I guess when you talk about an obsession not being too helpful, I guess if you have an obsession with petrol stations, that doesn't necessarily help you in your life or career. But her knowledge of like minimum temperatures, maximum temperatures around the world was just unbelievable. I mean, you could just tell her a city somewhere and she would know the highest temperature that city ever hit and the lowest temperature that city ever hit straight off her just came straight out. I mean, it's incredible, amazing to see, but it is quite a rare thing, isn't it, Jodi? And I think what are the different
I have a savant skill. I can go to anyone's house. And I know where the bathroom is without even being there. Other people are asking for directions. Where's the bathroom? I just know where to go.
Sometimes he just makes a closet a bathroom.
I just know where to go. I also can walk into any kitchen and find you where the pots are. Straight away, I gauged they would have put the pots
So
there.
all your skills involve going in other people's houses and knowing where stuff is.
Knowing where stuff is.
I know where the safe is and the combination.
No, I'm not silly.
Didn't you do a thing about shitting yourself, Jim?
I did.
whole
I did.
special.
I wouldn't call that an idiot savant thing. I just call that an idiot thing.
Maybe that's why you need to know where the bathroom is.
I have a quick question because there's been a conversation, at least that I've heard lately, surrounding how you phrase it, whether it's autistic people or people with autism. Is there any consensus on that? Because I know that people say people with autism as a way to be delicate about speaking about somebody with a disability, but then I've heard so many things that they like to be, people-centered as opposed to their disability. Is there consensus on that?
It's one of those things that every person has their own opinion and has their own way of wanting to be referred to. So, it is hard, and it's hard for us when you're making a series like this. Jodi will have experienced it as well with all the people she works with. I think the best way is to just ask people how they prefer to be referred. But, I do
it the same way as in my lifetime. It originally was everybody we just said autistic people. Originally, because, from the 80s, we just went autistic people. And then there was this really big push within rights of people to say, it's got to be person first language. We've got to say person with a disability, person with autism. You can't call people autistic people. And now it's swung back around again. And a lot of research is being done saying that autistic people want to be called autistic people. It's an identity first. So, like saying a gay man or but I do it the same as I work. I mean, I'm a sexologist, so every single person that I work with, I will say to them, what pronouns do you prefer to use? What are your use pronouns? So if somebody's on the spectrum, I'll say to them, what do you want to use? Do you call yourself an autistic person? Do you call yourself on the spectrum? What do you use? And whatever they use, I use, because it's not my identity.
Right.
It's their identity. And so, but, as you guys are talking about, language changes so dramatically and so quickly in my lifetime, just in this one area. I can't keep up.
I'm in trouble from jokes from 10 years ago that were acceptable words. And people go, why did you say that? I go, it was 10 years ago. That's what we always say.
Yeah. And I think we've got to remember that.
Those will change too.
Things change. Life changes.
And even within the, when we're writing the, very minimal narration that we have for the series, it's really tricky because we were trying to do what was the most, I guess, the safest way to do it, and what people had generally said and autism organizations had said at the time is that the best way to refer to people was people with autism or people on the spectrum. But then you had some people saying, call us autistic, we don't want to be called this. So, it's a hard one. And also, hey, Jodi, have you got your headphones in and you're waving around like the plug for your headphones? Are they even plugged in?
Gee, someone's getting a bit obsessive.
I noticed that. I noticed that too, Cian. I just noticed that too, actually.
Now, that's the attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. I've got to have something to...
It's a lovely show, Love on the Spectrum. Lovely show, lovely title. But for the sequel, you don't have to do season 2 because not everyone's looking for love. Not everyone needs to find love. Can't you just have fucking on the spectrum, banging on the spectrum, one night stands on the spectrum? Why does everyone have to fall in fucking love? They're only about their 3rd date. Let them fuck around a bit and hit it and quit it on the spectrum.
He got married 2 weeks ago and he's already like, can we change the fucking love?
And I held out till I was 43. Very proud of that. They didn't answer my question.
Well, I didn't. That was a real question.
Can season 2 be called Banging on the Spectrum and there's no love involved?
Sure.
All right. Good. I'm glad.
He knows how to play along.
I'm glad we got that out of the way.
Let's move along.
And then one for the teens, fingering on the spectrum. Okay, I'll stop everyone. I'm sorry.
Jim asked, I asked, can cannabis help? Because we're asking about treatment through therapy and so forth. He said always. Is that? I don't even know where that question is in here. Is that a thing? Did you find? Is that a thing?
I find from what I can tell with disabled people, cannabis always works with disabled people, people with mental or physical disabilities because it calms everyone down.
Oh, I don't know.
I think
not saying you guys should advocate that, but-
I think it would definitely help with autism because it calms you down a bit. But like you're in Australia or the fucking backwaters where you don't have legalized cannabis. Oh, I'm living here in the future in California. I'm getting high on the regular.
Well, Jodi can answer that. She's up near the cannabis capital of Australia. So.
Yeah,
exactly.
she lives up near Coffs Harbour. You buy it off the Hemsworth brother, or as I call them, the Hempsworth brothers. Oh,
Heyo.
Weird.
I mean, I can only go on evidence-based research, so I can't.
so
give
you must have a lot of
positive
stuff for us. You must have written a lot of papers on that.
Just a bunch of doodles in a notebook.
Yeah, so
It works.
hypotenuse. You order more pizza.
And then the last question I asked Jim was misconceptions about autism. He said good at numbers. We talked about that.
I was right about that.
The-
That's a misconception.
The anti-vaxxer part of autism is what misconceptions about autism should everybody know about so that they don't carry those with them, you know, in interacting with people with autism.
Either one.
Yeah, either way, yeah.
Yeah, it is hard when there's choice. I just think that if even in this conversation that we've had, which has been an hour,
Mhm.
it doesn't even.
No, it's been 58
touch
minutes
the
and 4
sides
seconds.
Of the diversity of somebody with autism. Some, autistic people are not just autistic people. Autistic people. I keep saying this all the time. Autistic people aren't just autistic.
Mhm.
They're also every gender, every sexual
They're
orientation.
good people.
every
They're
cognitive capacity.
assholes. They're funny people.
Exactly. There's for every
just like the rest of us.
personality, every political persuasion, you can't just say, oh, if you want to, it's like we can't put everybody in a box and say, there you go, that's autism.
We've tried it on the Mexican border. It hasn't worked.
The that is one of the things that I love about the show too, was when each person is introduced, whether it's like one of the main participants or one of the persons on a date with, is their likes and dislikes. Like me and my girlfriend were watching this show together, and so we ended up doing that at the end. We're like, all right, you go first. What are your likes and dislikes? And I thought that was just such a great little bit in the show to do that, where you're just like a great way to introduce people.
Turns out her likes are tall, thin Asian men.
Yeah, no, she is Asian, so I mean, could be. She could just be humoring me, but yeah.
We actually stole that from the French film Amélie. I shouldn't admit to that, but
what are you doing, Ken? Yeah. Which film?
What happened? there?
Amelie?
Amélie, you know the French film
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was made in kind of the 90s.
Oh yeah. You know what? Now that you say it, it does. Yeah, maybe that's why I was like so drawn to it too, because I really love that movie, Amelie. Yeah, you never seen
Yeah,
that? It's good.
A really nice way to introduce
know
people
of the
to
film.
tea.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, yeah. That's not. Yeah. Anyways, I keep saying yeah. Yep. Yeah, you are correct.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. And just before we get going, okay. So we ask each of our guests to give us a dinner party fact, right? And this is like a fact about our subject that is interesting or obscure that our audience can use to impress people, like at a dinner party or a bar or something like that. It's usually on the topic of what we've been talking about, but Cian, I like that you just gave us a fact.
Oh,
It was great.
Yeah. But I still like it, so if you could share that with me. Like I read yours, I was like, well, this has nothing to do with autism, but sure, you can throw that. It's Australian, so yeah.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize it was meant to be related to the subject.
I still like yours a lot, so I think you should throw it out
I
there.
wanna hear it.
Yeah.
You probably already know this, Jim, that kangaroos and emus can't walk backwards.
No, I did know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why they're on the coat of arms of Australia, because as a country, apparently we're moving forwards and not backwards.
Into each other.
Yeah.
They're fucking facing each other. What happens when they bash heads?
They can't go
they
backwards.
just stay there for eternity.
They're just stuck.
They can't go backwards.
Fuck me life ended when I walked into another kangaroo.
That's funny.
I went to kiss a kangaroo and I never moved again.
Yeah.
And that's how you get set in your ways.
So I still like that. All right, and Jodi, you had one relating to the show that I thought was great.
Yeah, I don't know whether you remember, but on the show, when I am working with Michael, and I said to Michael, "Oh, do you believe at love at first sight?" And he said, "No, because lust, that's a symptom of lust, and lust is the opposite to love." And he was actually correct. If you actually look at at the science behind it, that when people, what we call lust, the brain actually releases specific hormones when we're attracted to somebody and we're in those first phases of relationships where we're all giddy and a little bit crazy and can't think about anything else. The brain releases something, a different hormone. That's it. Well, so start with, it releases lust, is like the sex hormones. It's like the sexual arousal of testosterone and estrogen. That's the one that kind of gets us fired up. They're the one night stand ones.
Can you love someone that you lust after?
Yeah, you can have different things released at different times.
Oh, that's good.
So, well, we'll get there for you, Jim, because after being married for a couple of weeks, we'll let you know where you're sitting with these things. So when you're really attracted to somebody, it releases dopamine, which is like our reward. When you're feeling really good and you're rewarded by something. So that's dopamine. And love is what they call, is when we have oxytocin, that they call it the cuddle hormone. It's the one, and we don't see it just in intimate romantic love. We see it with all types of attachment, from child to parent to, person to their Labrador. It's the one where we go, this is comfort, this is safe. So, but what Mike was talking about on the show, he wants to go straight to the old, he's talking about love as that one. I want love. But he was going that lust is opposite. And it actually is.
Love's overrated. Love's overrated.
You know what? When I was reading this and it says it releases oxytocin, I read that as Oxycontin, and I go, huh. Yeah. That's interesting. Oxycontin is the cuddle hormone. Tell those people in West Virginia. They're really cuddly there.
Well, that's the podcast.
Yeah. If anyone hasn't watched Love on the Spectrum, it's on Netflix.
Go watch it.
Go
Ready
watch
to go.
it.
Fantastic.
5 episodes. You can binge it or you can take your time and watch it. It's really great.
Or you can obsessively watch it for weeks, over and over again.
I don't know if there's anything the two of you want to say before we leave. Thank you for being on the show, but please, if anything, you want to talk about any upcoming projects or anything going on, or.
Oh, I'd just say thanks for having us, and stay tuned for further series that may be coming along.
I think it's coming along. You're acting all coy. Oh, and Netflix had a big success that didn't cost them much money. Who knows what might happen? Yeah, we'll watch season 2, mate. Don't worry about it.
He's already sent the email about fucking on the spectrum.
Yeah, he's already jotted down fucking on the spectrum. You got to do like several spin-offs, like season 10 dancing on the spectrum.
Jodi, any parting words?
No, it's great to have laughed this much at this time in the morning for me. So thanks.
Yes, again, yeah.
It reminds me, I better call me Dad.
Actually, can I just say something? Just going back, only because I'm just thinking. When I was talking about girls being better at mimicking, I probably didn't put that quite right. Is it okay if I just give a slightly different answer on that?
You want to go, girls are better at mimicking.
Yeah. It didn't sound right. I guess I just wanted to say that, because autism was diagnosed traditionally more in guys than it was in girls, but as we learn more about the presentation in girls, we're starting to diagnose girls a lot more. And that it is said, and people have said to me, girls who are on the spectrum have said that for them, it's about masking and it's about mimicking, and that's possibly one of the reasons why some of those diagnoses have been missed.
All right, we cleared that up.
And I just want to say something about oxytocin, which is quite interesting. Just an interesting fact for you guys.
Take it in Kentucky.
Not oxytocin, not Oxycontin.
Yeah, oxytocin. Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
So there was a lady who was on The Apprentice in one of Mr. President's episodes back in the day, and I think she did really well on the series. I can't remember what her name was.
Amberosa.
I don't know. I'm not sure, but she was a real hard ass, and she did really well on the show, and she did really well as that corporate kind of this is how you do it thing, and they measured her levels of oxytocin, and they were really low. And there's kind of theories that levels of oxytocin in people can also affect how they feel about other people and empathy. Speaking of empathy, that myth about people with autism that they don't have empathy, it is absolutely a myth. Sometimes maybe they're not as good as expressing it. But absolutely, people have serious empathy. But interestingly, there's been scientific research into oxytocin, and higher levels of it can mean you have higher levels of empathy. And this woman who did really well in that corporate kind of environment on The Apprentice had really low levels of it. So, maybe a few people could do with a bit of an injection of oxytocin and things might change.
Wonder who
But
you're
we want
referring
to
to.
send our love out to Melania. She has COVID at the moment.
And I'll talk to you guys off the podcast, and we'll figure out what's a good charity, and we'll put that on our Instagram, IDKAT podcast on Instagram, and yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're at a party, someone's bothering you, try to ask them a few questions, and then say, "I don't know about that," and walk away. Good night, Australia.